Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition. Here are the top stories. The leadership program raises youth awareness of major sustainability issues. For the international news, 830,000 people wiped out by floods. Hello, welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. The first ceremony of the Youth Leadership Program was held on Thursday at the Kempinski Palace. The Youth Leadership Program, known by its acronym YLP, is an initiative to create a dynamic network of future youth leadership. This initiative aims to raise awareness among tomorrow's leadership of the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN and others. This day was also an opportunity to share, to exchange, as was the case of Fadhi Bashe, YLP alumnus, who came to share his experience with a host of young people from the YLP program. It should be noted that the Youth Leadership Program is a UNDP regional program that has created one of the most dynamic youth networks in the Arab region, using innovative tools for sustainable development impact. Let's listen now to the resident representative of the UNDP, Fatima Al-Sheikh.
Out of history, I think in Europe it became very evident, so that's why they opened for migrants and others. And I think we don't want that in our continent. So the call is upon you, and we as UNDP, we are happy to be your partner and engage with you to facilitate that journey of leadership. But I think the future is in your hands. And I am quite grateful for the trust by the civil society partners, and I have around me CLAY, the Center for Leadership, and I have CTID, and I think they have been a wonderful partners to UNDP and to you as the youth. But I also have a committed development partner, the US government, who's one of our major contributors to our UNDP program and one of our partners at the core. I want to thank you, Excellency, for dedicating time to spend this morning with the youth, and I want to wish you a very fruitful leadership journey, and I hope one day I will meet one of you as the future President of Djibouti.
In his speech, the State Secretary for Youth and Sport, Mr. Hassan Kamel, referred to the place of youth in decision-making, praising the effectiveness of the United Nations Development Program in bringing the Youth Leadership Program to life, and the fact that this program is an importance because it creates dynamic networks for young people. In his turn, the Economy and Finance Minister, Mr. Yes Musa Dawali, in his speech on this occasion, thanked the United Nations Development Program and this noble initiative it is undertaking to give young people the opportunity to exchange opinions, ideas, and transfer experiences among themselves when they meet other young people participating in this giant program. Now, an important signing ceremony by video conference for the redesigning of the old port into a business district took place today. This project, which is of paramount importance in the concept of Port Park City, comes in addition to the strategic projects developed together with China Merchant. The president of the APZFD thanked the partners and all stakeholders for their hard work to make this project a success. For his part, the managing director of China Merchant, Mr. Miao Jianming, reiterated the importance of Djibouti for the group and congratulated our country for the implementation of this project. The signing of the special promotion complex, whose construction works will be launched on Thursday, October 8th, by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margeli, marks the first stage of this vast project, consisting of the construction of a hotel, service flats, and an exhibition center, which will house a center of excellence for maritime studies, conference rooms, but also other premises. Now, under the aegis of the State Secretary for Youth in Sport, the Dai Sport Complex, in partnership with the Association for Youth Development in Sagalu, organized yesterday an Omnisport Day Mount Goda in Sagalu. Despite the strong repression, the beautiful and attractive team of Sagalu was beaten at home by the courageous and solid team of Mount Goda in the final 1-2. At the final whistle, the competitors were honored individually and collectively. Sagalu is a village that is very dear to me. It is where I started my teaching career. First of all, he recalled the number one of the SCGS before underlining the importance of these types of activities, which allows young people to develop to fight against delinquencies and drugs. He added that very soon, as promised, a CDC will be set up to reinforce this noble aspiration. The latter stemmed from the policy of the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margelu, who has placed the regions at the heart of the development and promotion of national sports. The speakers did not fail to thank the Secretary of the State Secretary, for Youth and Sport for his presence and praised his commitment to the youth of Sagalu. In his speech, the State Secretary for Youth and Sport, Mr. Hassan Kamil, spoke of this importance that these different activities reflect for the prosperity of young people away from crime and drugs. Now, the Women's Sport Complex received a donation of tech ball tables from the International Tech Ball Federation. This donation of tech ball tables was received by the Egyptian Tech Ball President, Mrs. Medina Saeed. The ceremony was attended by the Women's Sport Complex directors, Mrs. Fatima Jama Tukali, and other officials members of the Egyptian Federation. Let us know that this Women's Sport Complex is the symbol of the will to go further in the conquest of women and to advance their cause. The Egyptian National Women's Union organized an awareness-raising workshop in the meeting room to inform partners on the stages of GBV during the period of containment in Djibouti. This workshop was co-chaired by the program coordinator, Mrs. Sahara Hassan. The objective of this workshop was to train people on the rise of GBV during the period of pandemic and to strengthen the frontline response that can be provided. An introductory session on gender equality and gender-based violence in relation to female genital mutilation and cutting was discussed. The workshop was attended by the Ministry of Health, guaranteed services to the survivor, the Ministry of Justice, guaranteed security, UNFD members, and the Ministry of Women and Family. Now, the joint mission of the Ministry of Decentralization and Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity is continuing its awareness campaign on the Integrated Cash Transfer and Human Capital Development Program, which targets community leaders and representative targeted households. Also, after the grouping site of Galina in the sub-prefecture of Intadura, it was the turn yesterday, Thursday, 24th September, of the Dahalu in the sub-prefecture of Mouloud in Dikhil region to receive the visit of this joint mission led by the Decentralization Director and the Yusuf Abdallah. The visit to the Dahalu was also attended by partners from two departments on the ground in Dikhil region, namely representatives of the prefectural and local authorities, the head of decentralization state services such as health, education, agriculture, livestock, and pastoral hydraulics, to name but few. The discussion then focused on the impact of the cash transfer project as well as on the animation around the SAID project through the sensitization of community leaders and representatives of the beneficiary to the cash transfer on the issues of civil registration. Finally, as usual, during outreach activities, a mobile team from the Dikhil Medical Hospital Center traveled to the Dahalu to provide first aid to those in need, especially women and children, to their great satisfaction. On Friday, September 25, 2020, the President of the Regional Council of Oboh, Mr. Mohammed Ismail, moved to the locality of Lhasa. In his trip, the number one of the territorial community of Oboh was accompanied by the new sub-prefecture of Korangar, Mr. Mohammed Ali Omar, and the local elected official, Mrs. Saida Abdu. This visit is part of the strategy of local citizen meeting. Its mission is to raise awareness for the massive enrollment of pupils in school. On the spot, the mission was welcomed by the wise men of the locality led by Mr. Mola Burhan. During the meeting with the community leaders, the exchanges focused mainly on the mobilization of new pupils at the school. It should be noted that the numbers of pupils currently enrolled is very low. At the end of the meeting, the mission went to the Bosali borehole 13 kilometers away where there are enough children. In their speech, the President of the Regional Council of Oboh, the sub-prefecture of Lhasa, expressed their satisfaction with the meeting with the elders and expressed their optimism about the future of the school. Now we have just learned a loved one has just left us, a native of the Ali Sabih region, Mr. Ismail Sheikh Saeed, president of the civil society, died yesterday in a car accident following the death. The Minister of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bahdan, the prefect of the region of Ali Sabih, Mr. Musa Adam Bigani, the president of the regional council of Ali Sabih, Mr. Omar Ahmed Ba'is, parliamentarians of the region, officials of the region expressed sincere condolences to the family of the deceased and close friends. May Allah welcome him to his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Moving on to international news now, the floods in Sudan have disrupted the lives of 830,000 people, even though the Nile has started to recede in recent days. The latest figures announced by the United Nations show how devastating bad weather has been. Since mid-July, 166,000 homes have been destroyed or damaged by the heavy rains. The worst affected people are concentrated in 5 of Sudan's 18 states: Khartoum, North Darfur, West Darfur, Blue Nile, and Sinnar. According to the Sudanese Civil Defense, 124 people died and 54 were injured in the floods. In mid-September, Sudan had called on the international community to provide more aid to deal with the consequences of the floods that forced Khartoum to declare a state of emergency. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.